Welcome to the Vol Bros, presented by the Ooltewah Club. My name is Evan. This is my brother Rustin, and we are two Vol Bros who are actually bros in real life. Had a little bittersweet intro there. That'll be the last time we play that as the intro. I'll play it again tonight as we close, but a little bit bittersweet there. Tough day on the hardwood for men's team. We're going to start with the men's game, then we'll talk about the women's game from yesterday. But it's not all sorrow around here. The baseball and softball teams had a tremendous weekend. Arguably, the softball team had the best weekend out of any sport on campus this weekend. So, Rustin, what were your thoughts and takeaways about the men's game today?
So, some days it's just not there. And unfortunately, they had a horrible shooting day in the first half. In a game that really you can't have a horrible shooting night. Houston's not going to give you any second chance opportunities. They're going to rebound like crazy. You're not going to get offensive rebounds against them. This is unfortunately what I said before the tournament I don't want to see. March is all about matchups, and we do not do well against long athletic teams that can get up and down the floor. And, kudos to Houston. They did a fantastic job. Hit big shots when they needed them. They were crazy impressive. Who saw Emmanuel Sharp going off for 16 on 4 threes? He hasn't shot the ball like that in a while. Got hot when he needed to. I think
ugly shot. He shoots it from the wrong side of his body.
Yeah, but it goes in.
Yep.
Kudos to Ken Pomeroy. Before the tournament started, he said that he showed the analytics behind who the best teams in the tournament were, and he said the 4-1 seeds were substantially better than everybody else in the field, and said Tennessee was number 5, but they were a distant 5. And his analytics proved out completely. I mean, we got all 4-1 seeds in the Final Four, and they all 4 got there pretty convincingly. They all looked like the 4 best teams in America. So kudos to him. His analytics were spot on. I think the thing that is most bittersweet about tonight is we've probably seen the last time we're ever going to see Jemai Mashak and Zakai Ziegler. Obviously we're going to miss Jordan Gainey. We're going to miss Chaz Lanier. But as Wes Rucker said tonight, Zakai and Jemai are maybe the last of a dying breed. 4 guys who recruit, come on campus, spend all 4 years, ignore the transfer portal, there for all the right reasons, go out and just play their tail off for the university on a nightly basis. The post-game press conference was just brutal to watch. Watching those guys talk about their experience, and Rick Barnes, and that was hard to sit there and listen to. I was really impressed with Jordan Moore tonight. Posted Zakai's career stats at Tennessee and his accomplishments. I retweeted it. Yeah, I retweeted it from our account. He had one typo, but it's just an unbelievable list. I mean, if there was ever a guy who deserves his name in the rafters, when you hear this list, it's like, yeah, that jersey. And I know he's wearing Chris Lofton's jersey, so we're gonna have 2 number 5s in the rafters. But that jersey absolutely belongs in the rafters. 3rd team All-American, 2-time SEC Defensive Player of the Year, 4-time SEC All-Defense Team, 2-time SEC First Team, 1-time SEC Second Team, SEC All-Freshman Team, the Southeastern Conference single season assist leader record. I mean, that in and of itself is an incredible stat. 3rd all-time in SEC history in assists. First player in SEC history to lead the league in assists 3 years in a row. 8th all-time in SEC history in steals. This might be the most impressive one of all. He is the only player, when you think about all the guys who have played in the SEC forever, he is the only player in SEC history with 1,500 points, 700 assists, 350 rebounds, and 250 steals. That is incredible. He's Tennessee's all-time leader in assists, Tennessee's single-season assists leader, all-time Tennessee career steals leader, Tennessee's all-time career points, assists, double-double record. He's the all-time career assist-to-turnover ratio percentage leader. In the time that they've been keeping plus or minus, he's second all-time in University of Tennessee history in plus minus. He has an SEC regular season championship under his belt. He has a tournament championship. He has 3 Sweet 16s and 2 Elite Eights. If there's ever a guy whose jersey needs to be in the rafters, I don't know how you argue against that.
That's a fair point. Fair point.
And then if you scroll down, and don't put this on the screen, I'll just read it. I don't want the person's name to show up. If you scroll down in Jordan's comments, you will find the most ignorant person in America. Because how any rational human being with even a third of a brain could read those numbers and then post this comment, glad he's gone, turnover machine who disappears in big moments. Are you kidding me? Okay, I don't know who this individual is. It's a random screen name, but that is easily the dumbest comment I have ever seen in my entire life on literally anything.
That's saying a lot.
How can any human being read that list of accomplishments and then start off with glad he's gone?
No One of the best players in school history. Glad he's gone. Unreal. Well, my thoughts about today's game, unfortunately, this weekend, if you just take this one weekend, Friday and Sunday, we got to see firsthand exactly everything all of All Nation was terrified to see from the Tennessee Vols basketball team in the tournament. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Friday night, it was a clinic, man. It was an absolute clinic. On defensive end, offensively, it was beautiful. Beautiful. And then tonight we had a relapse of Gainesville. They went 0 for 14 from their first 14 three-point attempts.
Yeah.
Only one of them. And I'm being generous when I say that because even it wasn't that contested. Only one of them was a contested shot. They missed 13 wide open threes in the first half. You can't do that in the Elite Eight and expect to win. You just can't. And I hate it because we didn't get to see the best Tennessee team possible show up tonight. And that bums me out. If it had been, Tennessee playing the way that they're capable of playing and Houston just outperformed them, that's one thing. Nobody could be upset or, disappointed in how they played. But when you go out and you literally can't hit water if you jumped out of a boat in the first half, and it wasn't just the 3-point line. They couldn't hit anything inside either. It was disheartening. And I tweeted out at halftime, I said, try to get it to 10 points with 10 minutes left in the game, which then the announcer said twice in the second half too. So apparently he agreed with me. Maybe he follows us on Twitter. I don't know, or X. But so I said, get it to within 10 points in 10 minutes of the second half and just be within 5 with 3 minutes left. And then it's anybody's game. And they almost did that. They were within 2 shots or 2 possessions of it being a 10-point game at least once, I think twice in the second half, right around the 10-minute mark. And kudos to the Sharp kid. He ended their run both times. Stepped up and drained big time threes. Big time players step up in big time games and in big time moments. And he did that. So kudos to him. It was an ugly looking shot. I'll say that forever, but it went in. He shot the ball from the wrong side of his body, but it went in. All that to say, it's the Elite Eight. You can't score 15 points and a half and expect to win. You just can't. And so, unfortunately, the thing that all of All Nation was terrified about is Tennessee going to show up and have one of those nights where they just can't hit anything. Sadly, that ended up happening today. It's a shame. It's just a shame. Because we said before the tournament started, sometimes you just have one of those nights. Alabama had one of those nights last night. Sometimes you just have one of those nights. And I said it before the tournament started, like you can't have one of those nights at this point in the season because you have one and you're done. There is no future like, okay, well, we'll shake that off and come back. No, it's over now. And to your point, any Tennessee fan, how could you keep a dry eye watching Rick Barnes and Jemai Meshack and Zakai talking after the game? I mean, those dudes love Tennessee. They love Tennessee. I absolutely loved what Jordan Gainey said. I'm going to read Jordan Gainey's comments here because it was just fantastic. I tweeted it out from our Vol Bros account a little bit ago. So, Jordan said, well, doggone it. Now I can't find it. I can't find it. Basically, what he said was he's talking about Zakai, and he was like, oh, here it is right here. No, Justin Gainey said it, and it wasn't Jordan. It was Justin. He said a lot of guys that have success like Z's had, they get in the portal and they try to go make as much money as they can. Never crossed his mind. Never once thought about it. Never once said, hey, coach, I need. He's evolved for life. It means a lot. I love that. I love that. It's a shame, man. It's the end of an era. Literally the end of an era. It's just a shame. And I hate that it ended the way it did because it could have been so much better. It's just a shame. Some of the comments coming through. Kevin, welcome, buddy. Good to have you with us. He said, great season, but a disappointing game today. I wish some of those guys could have had the ultimate season, but they should be very proud of how they played. 100% agree. They gave it their all. And that's one thing, when we talk about the Lady Vols in a second, I do not have positive words to say about the Lady Vols fourth quarter yesterday. I have positive words to say about Kim Caldwell, but not about their fourth quarter, and we'll get to that in a minute. You can't say anything like that about Tennessee's basketball team today. They took care of the ball for the most part. They played incredibly hard. It's just they didn't make shots in the first half. That's the bottom line. I mean, that's all it comes down to. Wide open shots. Mississippi Vol, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, good evening, guys. Nothing but positive thoughts from me tonight. Got to start with baseball. It's always a very pleasant deal when you can go into another team's park and carry the brooms with you. You're exactly right. Sweep the series against South Carolina at Columbia. That's a big deal. Elijah, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, good evening, bros, in chat. Mississippi Vol said, what about those Lady Vol softballers? Absolutely. I mean, you don't just stroll into Norman and take a series from those gals. They were very composed. Carlin was great as usual, and they had clutch hits. Yeah, we're going to talk some softball tonight because they played phenomenal. Rhonda, welcome, Rhonda. Good to have you. She said, hello, Vol Bros and family. Today was not what we wanted, but that doesn't take away from the awesome season. Those guys are special and left an imprint on and off the court. 100% agree. That's one thing that I love about these players. It's a thing I love about Rick Barnes. which is another reason why it blows my mind that anybody would want him gone. That's just crazy to me. This is an easy team to root for because they're genuinely good people. Jemai Mashak is a great guy. And it's easy to root for him. And those are the types of players Rick Barnes recruits. He will always have my support, no doubt about it. Elijah said, sad the season's over, but what an amazing season. Back-to-back Elite Eights, nothing to hang our heads over. 100% agree, man. 100% agree. Jonathan, welcome, buddy. He said, hello, Evan and Rustin. Tough 2 days for the basketball teams, but both had great seasons. I agree totally. 100% agree. Darius, welcome, buddy. He said, unfortunately, the game was over in the first half. Not necessarily. Like I said, they were 1 or 2 shots away from, I mean, they did get it down to 10 points at one point in the second half, but credit to the sharp kid. He came down and hit a 3 to extend the lead again. So once you get it into single digits, especially, it's anybody's game at that point, especially if there's more than six minutes left in the game and it's a single digit ball game. That's anybody's game. Kevin said Houston was drilling shots all game long, and that defense at the boundary and under the goal was insane. Yep, absolutely. Josh, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said this was the game you had to have Estrella. We had 0 post presence all year. Teams that could shut our guards down, we had 0 chance. You're muted there, Rustin.
Yeah, I agree with that. Early on, when we couldn't get anything going, we needed to be able to pound the ball inside to somebody that could go attack the basket one-on-one, and that's just not Felix's game. That's not who he is. But JP's a true back to the basket post player now, and he could have gone and gotten us some cheap fouls, some free throws. He could have slowed that thing down a little bit.
Well, my thing is they didn't shut our guards down. That's the thing. We had wide open 13 uncontested threes in the first half that we missed.
Yeah, I didn't know. He said shut our guards down. Yeah, they didn't shut us down. We missed a lot of shots. I meant more when the shots aren't falling, we need to be able to pound it inside and go get some cheap ones.
Yep. Sam, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said this was only the 3rd time to reach the Elite Eight in the history of Tennessee basketball. I'm proud of these guys. Tennessee needs more talent to make a deeper run. It's hard to argue with any of that. Mr. Osborne, welcome, buddy. It's great to see you. He said, hello, Vol Bros and chat family. Very tough loss. Agreed. We're really proud of our men's and women's basketball teams. Both our teams played hard. Proud of them. Emotional loss for our boys team, 100%. He said, VFLs, absolutely. Go Vols. Elijah said he agrees with you. We need 2 number 5s in the rafters. Zakai has been unbelievable in his career. I mean, it's hard to argue with the numbers. If numbers don't lie, and he's got the numbers.
Yeah.
Jonathan said, I kept expecting us to start hitting shots in the first half. It just didn't happen. But I believe we still played well. I miss Zakai and Mashak. I'm still holding out hope they get to come back. Yeah, I think based on what we saw after the game, I mean, I hope they do, but I don't. Based on what we saw after the game, I think they know.
Yeah, they know that emotion in that post-game press conference, that was finality. They're not coming back.
Darius said Tennessee had a good season. Back-to-back Elite Eights is very rare for this basketball program. Houston was prepared from the opening tip. Yep, absolutely. Josh said Gainey was the only one that could create his own shot on the team. Luke Connect last year. Rick has to find more guys that create their own shot in the portal. I agree, and he's gonna have to find a bunch of folks in the portal because, I mean, think about who we're losing. Of the 8 guys that were available, let's run through them: Igor, Zakai, Jemai, Chaz, Felix, Bishop, Darlin Stone Dubar, and Cade Phillips, and Jordan Gainey. So of those 9 dudes, the only ones coming back are Bishop Boswell, Felix Okpara, Cade Phillips.
and JP.
And JP Estrella. He'll be back next year.
They've signed 3 high school kids, so that's 7. I think he'll go get 5 in the portal to make it 12.
He needs to.
And word is we've already got 2. The hard part is when you say he's got to go find guys that can create their own shot in the portal, there aren't many of those guys out there. And the ones who are out there aren't really playing around in the portal because they're getting all the NIL money they need where they are. Guys who are in the portal are there for one of 2 reasons. Either they got baggage and they're not playing where they are, or they're at a lower level and they've had incredible success and they're ready to take a shot and move up. And like we saw with Darlinstone Dubar, great success at a lower level does not always translate to great success at the next level.
Yep. And to an extent, Igor.
I don't. I
struck
think
gold with Chaz and Dalton.
I don't technically. I don't really agree with the Igor narrative that's out there right now. The guy finished the season averaging 9 points a game and 6.5 rebounds a game. If we could go out and find a dude in the portal that right now we knew could come in and give us 9 and 6 every night, you take that guy every day of the week.
That's fair. Yeah.
So I don't really agree with the whole Igor bashing thing. There's a lot of people doing that online tonight, and I don't see it. That dude came in, played his tail off. We put him in some bad situations because of the lack of depth. I wonder the last couple of weeks, I wonder if he was actually playing injured because he was a step slower. And that's the other thing you never know is how banged up are these guys really? They don't really tell you the truth on those things. So he looked a little
body injury.
Yeah. He looked. I mean, how many times in the last month did we hear on the injury report that Igor was a game time decision? That told me he had a lingering injury. He was fighting through it. But at the same time,
Zakai alluded to that too. Like Zakai said a couple days ago, this team's been through a lot. The stuff that people don't even know about, injuries and that kind of stuff. And
so I will say this. I was just looking this up just to make a point. Jonas Adu, Freddie DeLeon, Dalton Connect, lottery pick, Tobe Awaka, one of Arizona's leading scorers, Cade Phillips, Santiago Vescovi, playing pro ball in Europe, Josiah Jordan James, averaging double figures in the G League, Cameron Carr, probably would be our leading scorer next year, DJ Jefferson. All of those guys left at the end of last season. All that was left for this roster was Zakai Ziegler, Cade Phillips, JP Estrella, who never played a second, and Jemai Meshack.
And Jordan Gainey, that's it.
Yeah, and Jordan Gainey. Okay. And we just won 30 games and made it to the Elite Eight.
So 4 dudes off the last year's team.
Yeah. So, and one of them didn't step foot on the court. So really 3. So I don't worry about Rick Barnes in the portal. I don't worry about Rick Barnes developing guys. Look at the jump that Cade Phillips made from last year to this year. I think that's the same jump we'll see Bishop Boswell make next year. They rave about how hard that kid works in practice. I think we're going to see him make a big jump. They will find guys who are a good fit. They will fight for 25 to 30 wins. They will be in the top third of the conference, and they'll compete at a high level in March because that's just what Rick Barnes does.
Will, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, congratulations on a great season. Elite Eight is a great accomplishment. It's hard to win the Natty. Absolutely it is, man. No doubt about it. Sam said, that is a great list about Zakai, but it still doesn't describe the size of Zakai's heart and the teammate he is. That's a great point.
Yep.
Josh said he was at the game in Indy today. It was 90% Vols fans, and we were waiting to erupt in the second half, but every time we cut it to 12-13, they made a three. I'm glad you were there, Josh. I'm glad you were there, man.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I mean, kudos to them. Every time we made a run, they hit a big shot to kill the momentum. I mean, that's just good basketball.
Elijah said, I noticed every shot we missed was short. It's like they used every ounce of energy against Kentucky. Yeah, Jemiah almost airballed a free throw. It just barely got the front of the rim. I mean, I'm sure that they were juiced up for this game, ready to roll, but they were missing a lot short. That's true. Josh said Lanier was getting great looks and just couldn't throw it in the ocean. Yeah, it's first half. Yeah. Elijah said not having a true post presence, Estrella really hurt us in this game.
Yep.
Kevin said none of the men could drive inside except Zakai, and his spots got knocked out of the gym. So the only guy who had success driving the ball in the first half was Jemai.
And in second half, Jordan Gainey.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Herb said if we hit 1 to 4 of the 3-point misses in the first half, we lead at the half. It would have been certainly closer, no doubt. Jonathan said, "I will miss all the seniors, but Sakai and Meshack are the heart and soul of this team. You can't replace players like that. Also, miss Bob and Bert calling the games." Yeah, so the Vol Network posted the clip of the last segment on their show tonight of them signing off. Man, that'll get you too. Bert was tearing up on I mean, that's into 30 years worth of life for them, man. That's something. Josh said, would have loved to get to a Final Four for the narrative, but we saved ourselves embarrassment on the national stage. Duke would have beat us by 30. They're even bigger and more athletic than Houston. Until Rick Barnes changes his philosophy, this team will always lose in the tournament having an ice-cold shooting performance.
Yeah, I agree with the second half, and that's not going to happen. Rick Barnes is not going to change his offensive philosophy. But I do disagree with Duke being bigger and more athletic. Are they bigger than Houston? Yes. Are they more athletic? No way. Not even close. Duke plays 6 guys. Houston plays 8 without losing any talent, and they are all long and athletic and crazy jumpers. I actually liked our chances against Duke because I would have loved to have seen Jemai clamping down Cooper Flag. That would have been fascinating to watch. It's going to be interesting to see if Duke can handle Houston's physicality. I'll say that.
Greg said, hey, Greg, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, went to Birmingham yesterday and could feel the Lady Vols getting stronger with each quarter. When it was tied going in the fourth, I thought this is right where we want him, and then turnovers. Yep, and that's going to be my take on that game here in just a minute. It was awful. I'll get to that in a minute. Elijah said, I will say next year we have a really good set of front court players, Felix, Estrella, and Phillips. Yep. Josh said, do you think we do what Auburn did this year for the team next year? Play 2 bigs, Estrella and Akpara. One's an offensive guy, one's a defensive guy, works well with Cardwell and Broom. I mean, I think you're going to see all 3 of them plus whoever they get in the portal because they got to find one guy in the portal. He said, need McNeely from Virginia, career 43% shooter.
My understanding is that's a done deal.
Sign him up. Bring him up. That's what I'm talking about.
But
let's see.
You're also talking about a guy who can't create his own shot.
Yep.
He's a spot shooter.
Elijah said D Stone also had a ton of off the court stuff right before the season, was never able to get in a groove all season. That's fair. Josh said, that's my worry, rest in the portal is limitations. You won't ever get a Dalton Connect again. Rick is getting lapped in recruiting by Bama, Auburn, and Florida. We're not getting good young talent.
Well, but it's a philosophical thing. I mean, we got really good young talent a few years ago with Jaden Springer and Keon Johnson. How much did that do for us? They were gone for a year. They both got drafted highly.
Kennedy
Did they
Chandler,
really help? Did they really help? I mean, those are seasons we made early exits in the postseason. So yeah, you can go get a bunch of freshmen and be really good for a year, but you're probably going to have an early postseason exit.
Elijah said, so basically what you're saying is to trust Barnes. And Josh said, so basically our basketball NIL is garbage is what I'm hearing. Can't lose that much talent out of the portal door in 1 year. Well, we brought some in too, though. We brought in Chaz and Dalton.
Brought in Dalton. Brought in Felix.
Yeah. Rhonda said Boswell was tore up today as well. His post interview showed how much he was into it, even though he didn't get playing time. That's true.
Again, I think it's a philosophical thing. Rick is very specific about how he likes to use his NIL money. They have to earn it. He's not just going to throw it around. And so are they going to lose on some guys in the portal because of that? Yeah, because there's people out there. There are coaches all over this country right now absolutely lying to kids, saying that they're going to be paid a certain amount, and they don't have it. And these kids are just buying it and signing, and then finding out after the fact that they didn't get half of it. And at that point, there's nothing they can do.
The quarterback from UNLV.
Yeah. Well, no, in college basketball across the country right now, it is rampant. Every coach is complaining about it. There's a laundry list of coaches that are actively lying to kids and saying, oh, we're going to pay you this much. And they give them a little bit of it incrementally through the season. And then when the season's over and they graduate and it's time to move on, they don't finish the deal. They don't give them the rest of it. So that has become very common. And so, Rick's just honest. He tells them, this is what you're going to get. This is what you have to do in order to get more and come earn it. And some of these kids are like, I don't want to earn it. I want somebody to write me a check right now. So it's just it's philosophical.
Braden, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, definitely one of my favorite teams we've ever had. Loved watching, especially Zakai, Jemai, and Jordan Gainey these past couple of years. 3 guys who always give 100% effort and go all out. Absolutely. Totally agree. Kevin, you are the man. Kevin said, go Big Orange. Thank you so much, Kevin, for that $10 super chat. You are the man. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. He said he's got to run, but he's enjoyed basketball season with us. Looking forward to everything else. Absolutely, man. It's baseball and softball time now for sure. And swimming and diving still going, I think, actually. They just set a new record just the other day. Thank you so much, Kevin. Josh made a good point here. Absolutely. He said they were so tight. They had a boulder on their shoulders wanting to get Rick to a Final Four. That was very evident in the postgame presser. You're exactly right, man. Mississippi Vols said, I will miss hearing Bob and Bert. They gave so much time behind the mic and as players, too. I'm also looking forward to the Mike Keith era, too. Absolutely. Totally agree. Sam said, sad that this team came within 1 win of the all-time season record, and fans are talking about an embarrassment. Yep, absolutely. Tyler, welcome, buddy. There's our honorary bro. Good to have you, man. He said, in a day where integrity is lacking in the NIL space, Rick is a refreshing drink of water. Well, for sure. He is a man of integrity. There's no doubt about it. Well, let's turn our attention to yesterday's game of the Lady Vols against the 1 seed Texas. I'm going to go first on this one because I got some things I'd like to say. And then Josh said, I do trust Rick. I've loved Zakai and Meshack, in which this was the team to break through. But we'll be back. We all thought after Grant and Admiral we couldn't get back. Then after Connect, Rick will always compete. Absolutely. Totally agree. So here are my thoughts on the Lady Vols basketball game. I'm going to start with something positive, and that's Kim Caldwell. I'm going to Tyler said yesterday's game was almost a mirror of the regular season game in Austin. They're so close. I agree. But I'm going to credit Kim Caldwell because in the post-game presser, she could have lit up her team, and she didn't. Instead, she came out and she said, I was so blessed to be able to coach this team. She did passingly mention, we had some turnovers late in the game. But that's all she said. And then she proceeded to praise her team for what they accomplished this year. So I'm going to give a lot of credit to Kim for doing that, because I don't know if I could have. Because just like I think it was Greg said earlier, they had him right where they wanted him. 10 minutes left, tie ball game. Let's go win this thing. And then they proceeded to have nine turnovers in 10 minutes. That's like one turnover every minute and 7 seconds. 9 turnovers. For context, they had 9 turnovers the rest of the whole game. They finished with 18, which is way too much, first of all. Look at the men's game. You know how many turnovers the men had Friday night when they beat Kentucky? 8. The whole game long. 8. Today they had 11 and they lost. Not to mention all the poor shooting. But the Lady Vols had 9 turnovers in one quarter. I'm sorry. That is completely unacceptable, especially in a Sweet 16 game where you have a chance to beat the 1 seed in your bracket. The more I think about it, the more frustrated I get. Because here's the thing. It wasn't even like Texas was forcing us into these turnovers. We were just making horrible passes. We airmailed a ball to a wide open shooter in the corner into the first row of the bleachers.
Who's we?
I'm being nice and not saying names. I decided earlier when I was thinking.
Because pretty much everything you're talking about really is one person.
True. 2 of the 9 came from one, well, maybe 3 came from one person. But we airmailed a ball into literally the first row of the bleachers. It went over press row into the first row of the bleachers. Then we had a fast break. There was no one between the person with the ball and the girl, her teammate, she was trying to pass it to 45 feet in front of her. No one between them. And she threw it over the teammate, landed it on the baseline, out of bounds on the other end of the court. Then we make a lackadaisical pass, just a lazy pass at the top of the key that Texas is able to intercept and go down and turn into a layup. And then shortly after that, we make another lazy bounce pass on their end of the court that they're able to jump between and knock out of bounds. And somehow that was called a foul on us. Still don't get that one. And then we make a beautiful Riley Latham makes a beautiful backdoor cut. Beautiful. And we make a bounce pass to her and it just goes straight through her hands. It wasn't a bad pass. It was a good pass. Sorry, I said a name that time. I shouldn't have done that.
Alyssa, you said the wrong name. It's Alyssa Latham.
Oh, I taught her Riley Latham. Actually, that's why I said that.
Alyssa Latham. Didn't
there
play.
We go. So it was so frustrating. And here's why it's most frustrating. We lost by single digits. We made 9 turnovers in one quarter. Let's say we just score, because listen, just so we're all clear, we got 376 people watching right now across all 3 platforms. Side note, welcome. We're glad you're here. But let's be clear, just in case anybody doesn't know, we got awesome fans at Tennessee, all Vol Nation, brilliant, minds and stuff as far as knowledge of sports. But just in case there's somebody watching who doesn't know, a turnover in basketball is when you don't even get a shot off. You give up possession of the ball without even getting a shot off. Or you get a shot and it doesn't hit the rim. And you get a shot clock violation. So we'll say you don't even hit the rim. We'll put it that way. But typically that means you didn't get a shot off. Here's what's so frustrating about losing by single digits and having 9 turnovers in one quarter. If they score on half of the possession, we win the game. It's that simple. But that doesn't even paint the whole picture, because the only reason we lost by 8 or 9 points, whatever it was because we had to foul them. And kudos to them, they made their free throws,
which we did not.
Exactly. But let's say we just make, out of those 9 turnovers where we don't even get a shot off because we're throwing the ball literally into the front row of the bleachers. Let's say we only score on 3 of them. All of a sudden, we're not having to foul them to stop the clock. They're having to foul us because we would have been up by 1 in that situation. It's a totally different game.
Well, add in being 4 of 10 at the free throw line. If you just shoot 70%, add 3 more points onto what you just said. Not only are you not having to foul, you're comfortably ahead.
So, unfortunately, literally the worst quarter. And I mean this because we had a quarter earlier this year where we scored like 4 points in one quarter, something like that. I'm saying this quarter was worse than that because we had 9. That blows my mind. Not think about that. If they had done that the whole game, they would have had 36 turnovers for the whole game. They had 9 turnovers, 1 every minute and 7 seconds in the fourth quarter. Listen, with a chance to go to the Elite 8 on the line, you cannot come out and be so careless. That's what's frustrating. It was carelessness. You cannot come out and be that careless with the ball in that situation. Totally unacceptable. And that's why I give a lot of credit to Kim Caldwell, because she could have gone off on them in that post-game presser, and she didn't. And I give her a lot of credit for that. I'm done. Those are my thoughts on the Lady Vols game.
Well, the biggest reason she didn't was she already knows, this wasn't her team. The fact that they won 24 games and made it to the Elite 8 is incredible in and of itself. Or to the Sweet 16, I mean. I thought she made a statement in the fourth quarter, because Talasia Cooper had almost as many turnovers as she did points in the game, and she sat her. After the 3rd turnover in the fourth quarter, she never came back in. There was a couple of moments when it was a 2, 3, 4-point game. It would have been interesting to see if she had been in the game, would she have actually attacked the basket and made something happen? But Kim felt the need to make a point, and so she kept her out. I don't want to pick on a player, but the other one I was extremely disappointed with was Sarah Puckett. And I don't know what happened to her. I don't know what was going on in the second half of the season, but I don't know that I've ever seen a player in that situation look so apathetic and play so slowly and so half-heartedly. And it was driving me crazy because I'm sitting there looking at Ace Strickland sitting on the bench, who I know would go out there and play full motor, fly around, give you everything she's got. And instead, I'm watching Sarah Puckett just let people drive right past her all night and not even really attempt to stop them.
She had one good hustle play in the third quarter when she knocked the ball out on that fast break. But then she was one of the lackadaisical passes that turned into a layup on the other end in the fourth quarter.
Oh, she had, yeah. There was an offensive rebound that she should have easily had put back. She missed the layup because she was too careless with it. In 14 minutes, she had 3 rebounds and a turnover. That's it. I guarantee you put Ace Strickland out there for 14 minutes, her number is going to look a heck of a lot better than that. I don't get it. And, maybe Kim was trying to make a point and say, hey, you all stayed, you could have left. She was one of the ones I kind of hoped would leave because I knew she didn't fit the system. But I was extremely disappointed, especially when you're sitting there watching Tess Darby, another girl who does not fit this system at all. But she was out there flying around playing her tail off, and she's slow. I mean, there's no other word for it. Tess is slow, but she makes up for it in effort. And she did. I think she was in the game on both 10-second calls that we got. Um, you know, people used to blow by her, and she figured out how to use angles and keep them in front, and she just plays with incredible effort. And it drives me crazy watching Tess doing that, and then in comes Sarah Puckett, and it's just a revolving door. Like they just fly right by her to the basket over and over, and she doesn't seem to care. Like it doesn't. There's no emotion on her face. There's no sense of urgency. She just kind of lets it happen. So kudos to Kim Caldwell. She took a makeshift roster. It far exceeded expectations with a group that probably shouldn't have been in this position. It's going to be real fun to watch her build her own roster with her own players and really, really turn the throttle up on this thing. I mean, that's the other thing. We forget she didn't get to play her style this year because this bunch couldn't do it. She had to completely revamp her whole philosophy to fit this roster. So it's going to be interesting watching moving forward when they have players that can play her style, what they end up doing with it.
And if anybody's wondering what Rustin means by that, Kim said before the season she wants to get a 3, not just any shot. She wants to get a 3 off in the first 10 seconds of the shot clock. Well, after week 1 of SEC play, she's like, we have to get the ball inside more. We have to get to the basket first. That'll open up outside shooting. And she slowed down, paced down a little bit. They were taking, 20 to 25 seconds into the shot clock, So Rustin's exactly right. She changed her whole system of how she wanted to play. We got 5 top 100 players coming in next year. So it'll be fun to see what they're able to do. There's going to be plenty of shots going up.
They'll probably go get 3 or 4 in the portal. It'll be interesting.
If you're a player, I'm going to rephrase that. If you're a shooter and you're on another team right now and you just saw what Tennessee did and the success that the transfers had this year at Tennessee, why would you not want to come to that? I mean, you're going to get playing time. You're going to be told, hey, shoot the ball. Like, sign me up. I mean, like, why would you not want to come play for that? So unfortunate ending for the Lady Vols. Tremendous season. Just unfortunately had their worst quarter of the year in the most important quarter of the year when it should have been, the best one. So, like I said, if Texas had been like pressuring us and forcing turnovers, that'd be one thing. We were just chucking the ball in the stands. I mean, literally just throwing it in the stands. Unreal. So I hate that it happened that way. I just hate it. Mississippi Vol said, I hate that fourth quarter unfolding like it did for our ladies, but man, those first 3 quarters showed so much promise and potential they have. Totally agree. Elijah said, Lady Vols game was going good until the fourth. How do you have the same amount of turnovers as you do points in a 10-minute span? Thank you. Totally agree. Josh said, I think when it's all said and done, Lady Vols can say they beat the national champs because UConn is winning this thing. I don't know. We'll see. There's several good teams. But I mean, the fact that Tennessee beat UConn at all this year that's a success for this year for sure. Braden said, truly incredible what Kim did with this team from the past years. Already had a better record than any year we've ever had before. Truly shows her ability as a great coach for years to come. I mean, in the last several years, best record for sure. That 98 team, it's going to be hard to be able to be better than that 98 team. Elijah said, especially with this kind of offense Kim wants to run. Will said, appreciate Coach Barnes. Back-to-back Elite Eight trips isn't a small feat. I agree. OSU hadn't been relevant since the Greg Oden, Mike Connolly days 20 years ago.
Yep.
Surely Greg Oden was there less than 20 years ago. There's no way I'm that old. This show just took a very dark turn.
It's actually, I think, more than 20.
There's no way. Like, if you had said 15, I'd have been like, that's pushing it, surely. Because I have to remember it's 2025. But, man, that makes me feel really old if it's been that long.
So he got there 21 years ago and was drafted 18 years ago.
Well, before we sign off, I'm going to have to go take my Fiber One. Not a sponsor, but could be, apparently. Man, I just got way older real quick. Oh, buddy. That wasn't good. Jonathan said the ladies played well for most of the game except for the fourth quarter, unfortunately. Yep. Tyler said Evans giving a Rustin-like sermon whenever I was going on my rant about the turnovers in the fourth quarter. Josh said, thanks, Will. It's hard in the moment, but he's a great coach and such a likable man. Agreed. Will said, when I said we turned it over, Will said, Rustin playing point guard or something? Yeah. Let's see. Josh said, unfortunately, I think Joel Spear and Ziegler had their worst games this year in the tournament. Cost us in both. Zakai certainly, didn't have his best game today.
If you remember, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, Jewel had a high ankle sprain, and I don't think she ever got over it. I think she's been playing the last 3 weeks injured because she's been a little slower. She hasn't had as much explosion off the court, and I think it really held her back yesterday. I think there were times when she couldn't get to her shot because she just physically couldn't get there.
Let's see. Mississippi Vols said, unfortunately, our main players didn't play well yesterday, and they disappeared at some of the worst times or threw passes into the fans. The fan, now to their credit, the fan was wide open, okay? They were calling for the ball. They were feeling it in that moment. They're like, give me the ball. I'm about to drain a three.
My favorite part about it wasn't a normal overhead skip pass. She threw a hook shot.
Yeah.
All the way across the court from one corner to the other and sailed it into press row. That's hard to do.
Yeah. Such an accurate pass, by the way. High percentage pass right there. Let's see. Jonathan said, defensively, the ladies played well enough to win. If you would have told me before the game Texas only scored 60-something points, I would have said we win the game. Amen, brother. Amen. I totally agree. I 100% agree. You would have to love that. And then we just literally gave them the game. I mean, I don't know how else to say it other than we just gave it to them. Josh said TCU could very easily beat Texas, I believe. That's going to be a great game. It's going to be a huge game. Greg said self-inflicted is why it hurts so much. I totally agree, man. I totally agree. In the most important quarter of the season, we got more careless with the ball than we have the entire season. And when it mattered the most, you got to take care of the ball. And we just didn't. And that's why it just bums me out so bad. Elijah said he wouldn't be surprised if Talasia Cooper's in the portal pretty soon. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. That's fair.
Wouldn't hurt my feelings.
Josh said he's predicting for the ladies' Final Four, UCLA, UConn, South Carolina, TCU, with UConn winning it. And it very well may happen. I think that's probably the right Final Four, too. Elijah said Sarah Puckett just wasn't athletic enough to play in this system.
Yeah, but neither was Tess Darby, and effort matters.
Josh agrees with me about Tess's effort. Mississippi Vol said, I agree, Russ. I will always appreciate Sarah, but she just wasn't made for this system. Thankfully, we have some younger, quicker, more athletic girls coming in, plus our incoming portal additions. I'll be fascinated to see who they get out of the portal this year.
Yeah.
That's going to be fascinating to watch. Oh, here's a good question. Better coaching job this year, Kim Caldwell or Mark Pope? I mean, both had to put together entire rosters, essentially. Both made it to the Sweet 16.
I would say Mark Pope, because he inherited an absolute dumpster fire. Calipari left that thing in shambles. Kelly at least did some good things. She left it better than she found it. The players that Kim inherited obviously didn't fit her system, other than Jewel Spear, but they play hard. Jillian Hollingshed, I think you can make a case that she fits, and they play hard, other than Sarah Puckett.
Well, and
Mark Pope inherited.
You're looking at signature wins, Pope did beat Tennessee twice, and he did beat Duke this season.
Yeah.
Kim did beat UConn, and she beat Ohio State. Those were her, and Iowa. Those were her three best wins. So if you compare signature wins, you kind of got to give the nod to Mark Pope in that situation. But that's a good question. I mean, both did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, Mark Pope did a really good job this year.
I mean, that's no knock to Kim Caldwell. She did an incredible job putting in a whole new style of play with a makeshift roster that they pieced together out of the portal. It was impressive. Tyler, they're talking about Greg Oden. Tyler said he was on the cover of NCAA 2K7. He was a senior in 2006. Oh, my goodness. Josh said it's 20. Greg Oden was in college when I was. I'll be 40 soon. I just don't know how that's possible. I just don't know how.
I just read you his Wikipedia page. He entered college 21 years ago. He was drafted 18 years ago.
Yeah. Hey, but anybody can say anything on Wikipedia, so it's the most accurate information. That just blows my mind. Time flies, man. It just flies. Mr. Osborne said he's got socks older than me. That's pretty good. Sam said Ariel Antigua showing off the glove and the arm today. Baseball sweep South Carolina. Absolutely. We're about to talk about that, actually.
I'll tell you, the other one was Dean Curley. Dean Curley today defensively, there were some pro scouts that took some notes of Dean Curley at third base today. He was impressive.
Mino Lackey's here. Great to see you, Mino Lackey. Welcome. Glad you're here. Greg said, how hard will Kim work to keep Talasia Cooper on the roster next year? That's a great question. Honestly, I really would like to know the answer, because I think Kim was finally making some headway with Talasia near the end of the season.
Yeah.
I don't think it was
Honestly, I think it'll depend on how she responds to that fourth quarter yesterday.
Yeah.
How what is her reaction? How does she talk? How does she handle the locker room after getting benched? Because it was definitely a put up or shut up moment. Kim laid down the line and said, if you're just going to throw the ball around, you're not going to play. And it might have cost her the game, honestly. She took her best offensive threat off the court for the rest of the game. So I think how Talasia responds to that will dictate the answer to that question.
Carl, welcome, buddy. Good to have you. He said, great show. Ladies looked reckless last moments of the game. I think that's a great word to use, actually. That was reckless. That's a great word. They were careless. They did not protect the ball. And they literally gave the game away. It just so frustrating. Elijah said between Mark Pope, Kim Caldwell, who had a better season, he'd say Pope. And he said doing what he did and the hardest conference in history with all the injuries. That's a fair point. Absolutely.
That's true. He played almost the entire season without Kerr Kriisa, and they were expecting him to be a huge part of what they were going to do. So he basically had to reinvent his whole philosophy when that guy went down. So that's a good point.
Jeff, welcome. Great to have you. He said something happened with Sarah about 3/4 of the way through the season. She was nowhere near the same. She definitely lost confidence. I agree. Definitely, she lost confidence. I totally agree with that.
I hope nothing's wrong with her, but the confidence should not affect effort.
That's
Like
true.
if you're not shooting, you're not shooting. So be it. But that shouldn't affect how hard you play. And her effort was halfway at best.
Oriole Puppy, I'll say it. I'm extremely sad. Me too, buddy. Me too. Me too. And Jeff said he agrees with you. It shouldn't have affected effort. Agree. I'm going to use Jonathan's comment to transition into something that is a positive. And then Tyler just gave me another good comment to segue. To the 451 people watching across all three platforms right now, by the way, we appreciate you. We're glad you're with us. Jonathan said the baseball and softball made the weekend feel a little bit better. Absolutely. Softball really surprised me. I was just hoping we win one game going into that series. It did surprise me. Pickens didn't start either of the first two games. And then Tyler said Lady Vol softball did something only 3 teams have done since 2006. Win a series in Norman, Oklahoma. That is a stat of stats right there. Thank you, Tyler, for that one. Only 3 teams have done this since 2006. Win a series in Norman. Let's be honest here. Year in, year out, the most consistent softball program in America is in Norman, Oklahoma. They are routinely one of the top 2 teams, if not the best team in the country, every year. Currently ranked number 2. We'll see what happens tomorrow. And Tennessee Lady Vols went in there and took 2 out of 3 from them. They won Friday night on a walk-off hit, or not a walk-off hit, but a go-ahead hit in the top of the 8th inning in extra innings. They ended up winning 5-2. And then tonight they won 5-3. The one game they lost was the middle game. They lost 4-1. So overall, I mean, like, that's a great weekend in arguably the best program, softball program in the country. That is a phenomenal series win. Just like Tyler said, only one of 3 teams to have done it since 2006. What do you think about the Lady Vols, Rustin?
So one thought and then a fun fact. So the 2 games out of the 3 that they won this weekend, they finally got offensive support. And when I say offensive support, I'm not talking about for the pitcher. I'm talking about for Taylor Panel. Just like last year, in every game the Lady Vols lost, Kiki Malloy would hit and no one else would. The game they lost this weekend, Taylor Panel hit, nobody else did. Literally, she had all 3 of their hits. In the 2 games that they won, they had multi-hit games from multiple players, and one of them wasn't Taylor Panel. So when their lineup produces outside of their main hitter, they're tough to beat. The other thing that they have found is they found a really nice combination of Sage Margetko throwing first and then Carlin Pickens coming in. And I think it makes Carlin Pickens even better. Margetko throws with good velocity, but she's got a ton of movement and throws a lot of pitches. So they see a girl out there throwing who is, moving it all over the place, has a lot of different spins, and then all of a sudden here comes 78. And
you go from Greg Maddox to Randy Johnson.
Right. And it feels probably more like 98 after seeing a ball that spins all over the place and moves. So they found something there that is really effective. Now, the fun fact: Sage Marjetko is a fascinating story that she is now in Knoxville because two of the assistant coaches, Craig Snyder and Stephanie Sanders, who just recently got married, met on the recruiting trail when they were both recruiting, wait for it, Sage Marjetko to other schools, and neither one of them got her. She ended up going to South Carolina. So they meet while recruiting against each other on the recruiting trail. Both of them lose. Now here they are getting married, and they got Sage Marjetko to come to Knoxville with them. So, fun fact.
Full circle moment. Full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, these are the kind of things you find out when you watch the Vol Bros. I'm just saying. To the 461 people watching right now, first of all, you're welcome that you just found that out because I thought that was cool. But second, we're glad you're with us. Thank you so much for joining us. That is awesome. That was cool, Rustin. See, those are the little things like that you know that I don't know, and that's fun. That's what makes this show fun. Some of the comments coming through about the Lady Vols. Matt, hey Matt, welcome, buddy. There's another Chattanooga guy with us here. He's like, oh well, go Vols. That's the way I felt earlier, man. Josh asked a final four question, so I'll come back to that one. Elijah said, how about that softball team, huh? Complete shocker. I mean, I was pumped. When I saw, Friday night, Tennessee, Kentucky goes final. And then it was probably like 20 minutes later, all of a sudden we hit this go-ahead shot in right field in Norman. And I'm like, wait, we just beat Oklahoma in game one. So that made that night even better. Elijah said he was 3 in 2006, 21 now. The fact that only 3 teams have won in a series in Norman is in that amount of time is insane. And our ladies just did it. Amen, brother. I totally agree.
Yep.
That is an unreal stat. Kudos to Tyler, honorary bro, Tyler Goldberg. Kudos to him for coming up with that stat. Finding that one. That's a good one. Josh, this is a softball related question. He said, I have to ask a question. Who's the bigger teams? Karen Weekly or Rick Barnes? Consistently good to great teams, no championships. Crying emoji.
College softball is a lot like college baseball. It is really hard to win a championship. All it takes is, whoever has the best pitching staff has the best shot to win it all. You never know how those things are going to play out. You watch these girls in high school, you recruit the best you can, you try to put together the best roster composition you can, but you never know how people are going to develop, and you don't know how people are going to, how serious they're going to take it. And probably the biggest difference between men's and women's athletics in college is women tend to burn out a little faster. That's not a sexist comment. I'm a former women's coach. They tend to burn out a little faster. And so you may recruit somebody that you think is going to be, a developmental player who may start for you for 2 or 3 years. They may never step on the field. They may get into the college game and realize it's a full-time job and go, I didn't, I like it. I don't love it. And I'm never going to play professionally. So I'm done. And they just quit. So
that was almost the words to a Toby Keith song just then.
Yeah.
It's the remix. Yeah. I like it. I don't love it.
Yeah.
I don't want some more of it.
So honestly, I think Rick Barnes has an easier job than Karen Weekly. College softball's hard to coach, and it's hard to build a roster, and it's hard to keep them in it. So, I think Karen Weekly does a fantastic job. If you look around the country, there aren't many college coaches with the longevity that she has. She's been highly successful for a long time.
Rhonda said, hope y'all have a great week. Thank you, bros, for all you do. Thank you so much, Rhonda. We appreciate that. We're glad you're with us. Thank you. I hope you have a great evening. Jeff said the Vols are becoming in baseball what Oklahoma has been in softball. I think it's a great point. He said that itself should keep you feeling, what the Lady Vols just did. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's a great point. It's incredibly impressive what they just pulled off this weekend to go into Norman. Like Tyler said, only 3 teams. They're one of them. Only 3 teams to go into Norman and win a series. That's incredible. Jonathan, you're correct. He said, "Looks like Evan's smoking again." Yeah, I'm smelling the burning of the lights on the floor beside me over here, so I'm gonna turn those off so as not to set off any fire alarms. Let's see. Mina Likey said, "Defensive player, vote each day and hit that like button." Yeah. So what Mina Likey's talking about, in case anybody doesn't know, the Naismith Defensive Player of the Year in basketball, there is a fan vote element to that. I'm sure it's a small percentage of of the actual weighted percentage of votes, but it's part of it. And so if you haven't yet voted for that, Jemai and Zakai both are up for that. I'd strongly invite anybody to go vote for that. Jonathan said that was very interesting about those 2 coaches that got married and then recruited her to the same place. Like he said, "Is this the same Tyler from last year on the funniest episode ever?" It is that Tyler, yes. That is the same guy. Mr. Osborne said, "Tough couple days for sure, but all Vol sports programs are very, very good, so we just stay the course. It's always go Big Orange." Absolutely. Totally agree. So Will is giving credence to what you just said. He said his niece was offered a scholarship to Ohio State for softball. She declined it to focus on her medical degree. He said it was going to be too much to do both. That's totally fair. I respect that. That would be very difficult. Absolutely.
The good thing is, at least she made the decision before she got there. The hard ones are when they get there, play the whole fall, and then quit at Christmas. Those are the ones that really mess you up.
Josh said, "We are now a stickball school." That's fair, actually. Yes. When our baseball team is doing what they're doing, and then softball goes and wins at Oklahoma, that's a good weekend. So let's finish the show with baseball because we hadn't talked about baseball yet. They did sweep. South Carolina. To South Carolina's credit, there was not a run rule victory involved, but Tennessee did sweep them at South Carolina. What'd you see from the Vols this weekend that you liked?
They're ridiculous. And I hope people recognize what they are doing is not in any way, shape, or fashion normal. Teams, college baseball and college softball are very similar. Again, the teams with the best pitching typically win everything. But it's a common thing to run into a roster that has one dude who's just lights out. And you go, that's why they say all you're trying to do is win the series. You assume there's going to be one guy you're going to run into that's going to give you fits, and you're not going to hit well, and you're going to the other team's going to find a way to beat you. These guys are never down. Like they go in, even when South Carolina, or last weekend with Alabama, or the weekend before with Florida, even when these teams get a lead, like you look at the dugout and they are just totally even. Like there's no tension, there's no concern, there's no, like, they just walk out and take over. And to do it against a constant array of arms who no one can seem to figure out how to get these guys out is just unbelievable. And I love watching guys like Dalton Bargo, who, at the beginning of the season, they're saying, well, he might be an every other day guy in left field. Maybe we'll DH him a little bit. Who just keeps plugging away and keeps finding ways to be productive, and has worked his way all the way up to number 2 in the batting order and an everyday starter. And now they're like, well, we got to find somewhere to put him in. Like, he's got to stay in the lineup. And he is wreaking havoc on people right now. I mean,
Yeah.
between he and Reese Chapman and Andrew Fisher, I would hate to be a right-handed pitcher facing this team because those three lefties are going to do massive damage, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. It's unbelievable to watch. I mean, some of the balls Andrew Fisher's hitting right now, it's just not fair. Like the ball should not come off the bat at the velocities that he's hitting baseballs right now. And when you throw in there, up till this point, Cannon Peebles has kind of been an opportunity to relax. Not anymore. Cannon Peebles is
Yeah.
finding ways to barrel balls. He's finding ways to put balls in play hard. Hunter Inslee is fantastic. Dean Curley's going to give you one or two hits every game. Ariel Antigua has figured out ways to be productive offensively. And then every once in a while, Jay Abernathy will throw in two or three hits. Manny Marin will get a hit or two. Like you just can't get away from them. There's nowhere in the lineup you can rest. And
Yep.
any of them can just destroy you in any moment. And then all of a sudden they go to Stone Lawless, or they go to, Chris Newstrom, or they go to, insert whoever, Levi Clark.
Blake Grimmer.
They just keep coming. And it's like,
Yeah.
you can't get away from this lineup. And then they roll their pitching staff out there, and every dude's throwing mid-90s with nasty sliders. And it's like, we're just going to lose. Like that has to be what I'm serious. That has to be what every other team is sitting in the dugout thinking. They're like, we can't beat these guys. Like there's too many of them. They're too freaking good, and we're just going to lose. Who do we play next weekend? Because there's nothing you can do. They're just physically better than everybody else, and it's not close.
Absolutely. Well, I just said on top of that, we have Frank Anderson in the top 3 pitching staff in the country. Yep. Matt said in number 22, GOAT. Absolutely. Matt, I'm so glad you mentioned that. For the 491 people watching across all 3 platforms right now, Matt has given me a strategic segue because Matt owns what I'm about to show you. If you were to go to thevolbros.com/shop, you will find this gorgeous, gorgeous goat hat in smoky gray or dark mode. It's got the goat logo with 22 in the middle of it. Rustin owns the smoky gray. I own the dark mode version of this hat. Look at that. A Richardson 112 hat with puff embroidery on the front. It's a thing of beauty. Thevolbros.com/shop. Thevolbros.com/shop. Honestly, probably really is the best way to support the show. We tremendously appreciate that. Yeah, like you said, there's a cap for that. Absolutely. You're exactly right. Josh made a great point. He said they're doing it without Gavin Keelan right now as well. That's a very good point because they're just going to get better when he comes back in the lineup. And Josh said Krenzel is a dude. He is. He's throwing really well.
Well, imagine what happens if some judge finally gets their head on straight and names Alberto Osuna eligible. I mean,
yep. How do you find spots for all these people? That's the thing. It's unreal.
And what's even more crazy is most of them will be back next year.
Yep, that's right.
It doesn't get any easier for the SEC. They're all coming back.
Absolutely. You mentioned Cannon Peebles, and I'm glad you did because Cannon had a good weekend this weekend. But you also mentioned Dalton Bargo, and holy cow, we hit SEC play, and Dalton was like, "Okay, I'm going to win that spot back now from Levi Clark," and he is not relinquishing it.
No, he's killing everything.
It has been fun to watch Dalton over the last 2 weekends. Will said his niece has been on the dean's list for 3 years in a row. That's what I'm talking about. Sam said baseball keeps finding new ways to win. Absolutely. Ariel Antigua, goodness gracious, that dude is so much fun to watch when he's playing shortstop.
Yep.
His glove to glove to throwing motion transition. It's like
Perfection.
butter. I mean,
Mhm.
it is beautiful. It is beautiful to watch.
Yeah. He's the guy that you show high school kids highlight reels and go, "Okay, watch his feet, watch his hands." But in the back of your mind, you're also going, "There's no way this kid's gonna be able to do that." I mean, he's on
Yeah,
another level defensively that most people never reach.
absolutely. Mississippi Vol said a great point here. He said it's easy to take this for granted sometimes. I was on a Mississippi State message board earlier today, and they were miserable. Absolutely nothing to hang their hat on or look forward to. We're very fortunate. Amen, brother. Uh, so, you wish you knew you're in the good old days. Well, we're in them right now. Like, this is it. All sports across the board are just thriving. This is the good old days right now. Josh said, "Don't want to get ahead of myself, but the schedule doesn't look daunting outside of LSU and Arkansas. Think we could see another 22-8 type conference win loss record for sure." Because I mean, what right now they're 8-1 right now. Is that right?
Yeah,
Because they swept Florida, they swept South
yeah.
Carolina,
They're
lost
26-2
one.
and 8-1.
Yeah, I mean, just that's nuts, man. And the SEC, like that's incredible. Tony, welcome, buddy. Glad you're with us. He said, severe thunderstorm, West Tennessee, just now getting on. Hey, man, I hope you're okay. I hope you keep power and hope everything's all right out there. Jonathan said, this baseball team is impressive. I know what they're doing is hard to do, but at this point, it seems like you just expect them to do it every weekend. Man, that is exactly right. I'm so glad you said that because what they're doing is unheard of. How they're playing, the depth that they have on both offense and defense, pitching depth. But now we're getting used to it. Like we just expect them to do this. Like what is that feeling? It's amazing what they're doing. Like Mississippi Vol said, we can't take it for granted.
So I don't want to call Josh out here, but when he says 22-8, he's saying we're going to lose the series at LSU and Arkansas. Because if you win those two series, you're 26-4 in the conference.
I'll put it this way. At this point, I don't expect them to lose a series.
I don't either.
Because they just keep proving that they won't. You know what I'm saying?
They just keep proving that they are light years better than everybody else by a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, I watched a little bit of Kentucky and Texas A&M today, and I was like, we're going to sweep both these teams easily. There may be a few run rules in there.
Yeah, Texas A&M may be the most disappointing thing in all of college baseball this year.
But Kentucky's not much better.
I mean, preseason number one, the SEC when they made the schedule, they put Texas A&M on Tennessee's schedule on purpose because they want to see a rematch of last year's national championship series. It was going to be, probably number one versus number two in the country by that point. That was by design, and boy, that just backfired real bad on the SEC offices.
Texas A&M is now 13-14. They have a losing record.
Yeah, they're like last place in the SEC or something like that.
Yeah, 1-8.
I mean, they're not doing well at all.
Did you see what happened in their game 3 today?
No.
Okay, that was the weirdest thing ever. So, the NCAA allows schools for travel reasons because they're all about the student athlete. Yeah, right. They allow them to impose curfews. They can say that, if you have a noon game on Sunday and you have a long travel night ahead of you, and we want to make sure those young men get in class on Monday morning. Yeah, right. Then you
as
have
the people from Rutgers travel to Washington for a Tuesday night game,
right?
And softball and volleyball, and
they can impose curfews. And so the Texas A&M Kentucky game today had a 4:30 curfew. They were not allowed to start an inning after 4:30.
It's like a time limit in Little League.
Yes. So, it gets better. So Kentucky had the lead, and it was getting close to the curfew, and Kentucky started making mound visits, like
Yep.
9-year-old travel ball trying to run the clock out.
That's exactly what I was about to say. You start taking pictures out and warming up new guys.
And so A&M's coaches started screaming at them about it. And all of a sudden, the Kentucky coaching staff and the A&M coaching staff are both standing at the top steps, screaming back and forth at each other.
Take up more time. Absolutely.
And it got completely out of control. Then they mouthed at each other through the handshake line. Like it was absolutely hysterical. But it was all over Kentucky delaying to get to the time limit.
That's just smart, in my opinion. Texas A&M would have been doing the exact same thing if the situation had been reversed.
100%.
Yep. That's one pitch for this guy. We might need to bring in another person for this next pitch.
Play his music. Walk in slowly.
We're just trying to keep the hitters on their toes. We're mixing it up righty lefty every single pitch. Let's see. Braden said baseballs are absolutely rolling right now. How about the softballs? Upset in Oklahoma might win Natty in both baseball and softball this year. Definitely potential on both teams. I mean,
they're going to, in order for softball to win the national championship, they're going to have to get a lot more offensive production. They can't have Taylor Panel being the sole bat in the lineup. They're going to have 3 or 4 other girls step up big.
Elijah said we get A&M at home next weekend. Could get ugly. It will get ugly.
I would not be surprised.
Game or two in there.
I would not be surprised at all if we run rule them twice.
Yep. Let's see. Jeff asked a great question. He said, has any school ever won the baseball and softball College World Series in the same year?
No.
The only team to get close to it is Florida.
Yeah. Texas got fairly close one year a while back. Florida is probably the most recent that almost did it.
I think it was like 2018, something like that. 2016, 2018.
Somewhere around there.
And Sam said, and AJ Russell's still coming. Yeah, that's exactly right. Like the rich get richer.
Yep.
For sure.
Although, I'll tell you, these Sunday guys, man, Tegan Coons and Braden Krenzel back-to-back they're something. Those two dudes that complement each other well, and they are mowing people down.
Big Orange said, it's safe to say I won't be missing any more baseball games for the rest of the year since there's no more basketball. Yeah, all eyes are on baseball and softball now. Will, I didn't know this. I'm glad you said this. Or Josh, not Josh, I mean. So Josh said that Braden Krenzel is Craig Krenzel's son. I did not know that. I learn something new every day. Thank you very much. He said, imagine the Texas A&M message boards. Yeah, man. Dumpster fire is what that would be. Absolutely. Jonathan said most of them will be back next year, plus probably a freshman class that's as good as this year's class. Exactly right. That's a fantastic point. I mean, how are you going to keep all these dudes happy? That's the thing. Like, it's incredible. They know they're coming to get developed, and they're going to be even higher draft pick when they leave. Sam said Georgia's got a really good team as well in baseball. They do. That's right. Let's see. Josh said, I'll never take Omaha trips for granted, seeing how hard it is to get to a Final Four in basketball. Amen. Absolutely.
Yep.
Jeff made a great point here. He said this baseball team is never out of a game. They have such a confident and competitive spirit. You're exactly right. They are never out of a game.
And what's crazy is you never know who the guy's going to be. I mean, Saturday it was Cannon Peebles' 2-run bomb in the 8th that won the game. You never know who's going to beat you. They can come at you from so many angles.
Well, it's like last weekend they were tied going in the 7th inning. In the bottom of the 7th, Tennessee scored 7 runs or something like that, 10 runs or something like that to run rule.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like they can just explode on you out of nowhere. And you know what? Shout out to Hunter Inslee. He has been the most consistent dude on that roster. He is a rock solid, rock steady, both offensively and defensively. I'm thrilled for him. He's having his best season of his career, and I'm thrilled for him. Big Orange said, "I will lose my mind if we win back-to-back World Series." Here in Carl Ravage's voice. Let's see. Josh said he has us losing one at Ole Miss, one at LSU, lose the series to Arkansas, one to Vandy, one to Auburn. So 23-7. He thinks we sweep A&M and Kentucky.
So preseason, logically, I would have agreed with that, losing the series at Arkansas. But honestly, this team is defying logic, and I would be shocked if someone beats this team in a series. I mean, they are so much better than everybody else. It's wild how good they are.
Josh said A&M's coach is going to get fired in year one.
What is
maybe?
This is, he keeps this up. He is.
Yeah.
This is the poster child for never let players make a decision for you. You know, Michael got the job because the players went ballistic when oh shoot, what's his name? When Schloss left.
Dude at Texas.
Yeah. When Schloss left, the players lost their minds. All said they wanted Michael early to get the job. The AD conceded, let them have their way. Now here you are, 13-14. Some guys are just better assistants than heads.
Big Orange said we are undeniably the next dynasty in college baseball. We are the dynasty in college baseball right now. Josh said Texas softball's loaded. Don't see the Lady Vols winning it.
True.
He said he agrees with you. If Russell comes back, he may be a closer. Don't know whose spot he takes right now. That's a great point.
Problem is, Tanner Franklin's been lights out in that closer role. So what do you do with him? I mean, it's ridiculous how much talent and how many options they have. Like, just throw them in wherever.
Josh said Dave Van Horn has Tony's number. Vols Titans 8, welcome. Good to have you. He said seeing what we do with Russell is going to be interesting coming back. Yep, absolutely. Braden said for baseball, crazy how many people we lost to the draft and we got better. He said remembers you saying that we would probably be even better after last year's Natty. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, and just wait till you see the freshmen coming in next year. Like, we might actually get better again.
Yep, it's crazy, man. Like, they're so good, and and people want to come play for Tony, and so they're just going to keep getting better.
This is going to be the second recruiting class in a row where players who absolutely should go in the first 3 rounds of the major league draft out of high school aren't, because they're coming to Tennessee. I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he convinces them not to go. I mean, these kids are turning down multi-million-dollar signing bonuses to come to Tennessee.
Josh said, should AJ Russell think of sitting another year or no? I don't think he can, is the problem.
No, he's going in the draft in June. That's why they're being very careful bringing him back, because they want him to be at full strength when he comes back and, you know, not have anything that hurts his draft stock.
Let's see. I think there was one comment. Oh, so Josh asked earlier, who do we even want to win the Final Four? For me, it doesn't really matter anymore because my bracket's shot. So, I mean, I do have Florida winning it all. So, I mean, if they win it all, that'd help my bracket. But I'm not going to win. Speaking of that, let's look and see what Florida the update is. Because we did have somebody in our bracket challenge, the Vol Bros bracket challenge, that was 99.9% accurate after the first weekend. Let's see what we got going now.
Mino, like, his answer to that was don't care. Tournament's over for her.
Braden said his second chance bracket is perfect right now.
Nah.
Elijah said, I'd say Auburn. I like Bruce. Jeff said, we do need our Friday starter to get back to where he was earlier in the year. She struggled a little last 2 starts.
Second chance bracket. Second place is first loser.
So here's the Vol Bros bracket challenge. Oh, so we got some movement on top of the leaderboard now. All right, so we got a tie right now. Talon Hill and Charles Lee Maples both have a 92.7 accuracy prediction rate right now.
Ooh.
That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then Sean Holt, then Devin Davis, then Brian Moore. Brian was in first. Brian was the guy that had 99.9% accuracy after first weekend.
Weekend 2 was a little rougher on him.
Yep. Man, I'm way down this list. There's my son at number 14.
Well, my 11-year-old daughter was like number 10. So what's that tell
There's
you
you.
about? Yeah, what's that tell you about how easy it is or how logical it is to pick the NCAA tournament?
So you're at number 24. I'm at number 29 right now.
Yeah.
As we look up here at the there's Bobby on there. Hey,
So
Bobby.
for all, she's number 12. So for all of you who are watching right now who are ranked lower than number 12, you're losing to an 11-year-old girl. So
that would be both
congratulations. Yes, congratulations to all of us.
So this is where it gets really interesting. When you look at the two people who are at the top right now, Talon Hill and Charles Lee Maples.
I think that's
Charles
E.
Yeah, Charles E. Maples. All right. Both of them, this third column is really kind of the most important column. Both of them have the exact same amount of possible points remaining. But you'll notice they have a different national champion.
What's interesting is number 5, the guy who had 99%, he's actually probably out of it because his best score potential is 1480. So it's really numbers 1 through 4 and number 6 and 7 are the only ones who still have a shot of winning.
And that's because of Brian Moore has the same national champion as Talon Hill. And so Talon, if Florida wins, Talon's winning the thing. Like it.
Yep.
That's how this is going. If Florida wins, Talons are champion. If Duke wins, Charles E. Maples is our champion. And depending on who, so all the people that have Auburn picked right here, you know, it could be they have a different team winning in the other side of the bracket to play Auburn in the final, you know, the championship game. So there's no way to know that one yet. But Talon and Charles E are sitting in the driver's seats right now, for sure. Well, that's fascinating. Let's see. Josh said, I don't like Golden. I've never liked Duke, and Auburn players are clowns, so I guess I'm going Houston. I loved what Kelvin Sampson had to say about Rick Barnes. That was pretty cool. Sam said, I'm with Mino. Time to move to the diamond. Jonathan said, I have Auburn winning in my bracket, so it'd be nice for me if they won. Yep. Elijah said, my bracket was awful. Matt said, Duke is nasty. Elijah said, he's at 30, number 30. So you're one behind me, Elijah, because I was 29. Rustin's 24. Let's see. Chris said, welcome, Chris. Good to have you. He said Sarah Puckett stopped playing as good when she started doing all the YouTube podcast videos. Well, we didn't have her on our show, so we but now, hey Sarah, if you're free and you want to jump on the Vol Bros one time, that'd be cool. Let's see. Josh said Florida has been awful shaky, for sure. Man, Texas Tech let everybody know what happens when you don't make free throws. They should have won that game, but they didn't make free throws. Let's see. Sam said, don't let that kid get in a cart with Evan at the club. I'm guessing he's talking about Karis. Let's see. Josh said, I think the winner of the Duke Houston game wins it. I mean, if Florida plays like they did in the SEC tournament, nobody's beating Florida. But if Duke keeps playing the way they're playing, of those two teams, Duke and Houston, Duke is the only team out of those two that could keep up points wise with Florida. I mean, Duke's averaging 85 points a game right now in the NCAA tournament.
One thing that was said today that I did not hear until today, and I wish I had paid more attention. I probably would have done my bracket a little differently if I had thought about it. Houston's only lost 4 games this year, and 3 of them were in overtime.
Oh wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah, Houston could very easily have 1 loss right now.
Yeah, I just don't think they're going to be able to keep up scoring wise with Duke. Duke just, man, they can flat score the ball.
They can, but they're a little soft, and I think Houston's going to bully them.
Matt said teams with superstars win championships, so Duke or Auburn. Hope Houston wins it all. Elijah said Texas Tech was an all-time kind of choke job, 100%. They were up 8 points. They were up by 8 points with 2.5 minutes left, and in 55 seconds, the game was tied. Florida made up an 8-point deficit in 55 seconds.
Yeah. And Josh just said the rest of that stat. They've lost 4 games this year. 3 of them are in overtime. The last one, Thanksgiving. They haven't lost a game since Thanksgiving. It's April.
1 loss since then, yeah. That's nuts. Yeah, Elijah just said that too. And it was to Texas Tech. Oh, that's interesting.
In overtime.
Well, certainly time to move on to baseball season. We're going to end the show tonight with our basketball outro one last time for like a nice farewell to the basketball team. But it was a heck of a season, man, for Tennessee basketball, both men's and women's. Only team in the nation to get men's and women in the Sweet 16. It's a good time to be a Vols fan. So, we're very fortunate to have coaches like Kim Caldwell and Rick Barnes at Rocky Top. Many bright days ahead. Many bright days. Josh said it was in the Big 12, not a bad conference at all. Absolutely. You're exactly right.
Yeah.
Elijah said, night, bros. Good show tonight. Hey, appreciate that, man. Thank you so much. To the 546 people who are watching right now, we appreciate all y'all so much. If you are Tennessee baseball fans, we invite you to go to the volbros.com/shop to get yourself a GOAT 22 hat. That's puff embroidery on a Richardson 112 hat. It comes in dark mode and smoky gray. If you don't like the hat, we got tons of shirts as well. We got our Everything School shirt. Comes in a bunch of different colors. Now be the perfect time to get it. We also have that GOAT logo on a shirt. Now be the perfect time to get that too. Get you a hoodie or a shirt. If you're a fan of Tony Vitello, we got our In My Tony Era shirt for all the ladies. Hope you enjoy that one too. We got a bunch of great stuff on there. So the volbros.com/shop probably honestly really is the best way to support the show. Great folks at Oak and Twine. That's another thing I want people to know. When you buy from this shop, you are supporting a small business, family owned, literally family owned and run small business right here in East Tennessee. It's called Oak and Twine, located in Ooltewah, Tennessee. Awesome folks, sweet family. They run that store and they do a phenomenal job for us on that website. We really appreciate them. Sam said, good night, bros. Good night, Sam. Great having you, man. Me know like you love seeing you always. Thank you so much for being here. Josh said, once more on the way out. No chance Rick retires, right? No chance, buddy. He is back.
He's already signed 2 guys out of the portal. It's not official yet, but they already have 2. You don't recruit the portal for next year unless you're definitely coming back.
And I mean, he said it. He said it in his press conference. He's excited about next year. So we're glad he's coming back. Like you said, hit that like button. I think that's great advice. Fantastic advice. Hey, please let your friends know about us. I'd appreciate that too. Let folks know about the Vol Bros. Text a buddy. Text a buddy about the Vol Bros. Matt, You're exactly right, buddy. He said, "Go Vols, baby." He knows where I'm going. And Jonathan said, "Good night, everyone. Great show as always. Appreciate that so much. It's been a lot of fun talking about this tonight. Uh, all eyes on baseball and basketball now for the rest of the spring. So we're looking forward to seeing everybody Thursday night. We'll be live again on Thursday night. We'll have some baseball to talk about on Thursday. So we hope everybody joins us in. Josh, a great show as always, fellas. Thank you, man. We appreciate you having us or being with us all the time. We love it, man. Thank you so much. I'm glad you got to go to Indianapolis today. I'm sorry you didn't see a better outcome, but I'm glad you were there. Braden said, "Y'all have a good night. Go Vols." Absolutely, man. Thank you, Braden. We appreciate you, buddy. Hope everybody has a great night. Go Vols, baby. And we're going to end with our basketball outro as a swan song to a great 2024-2025 season for the men and women basketball teams.